That deadly police shooting of an unarmed South Carolina teenager. Officials have finally released Dashcam footage, you see it right there, of the July encounter, after the prosecutor decides not to charge the officer. ABC's Lindsay Davis here with the story. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. Back when this happened over the summer, the victim's parents wanted that Dashcam video released, believing it would show the police officer did not have to fatally shoot their son to spare his own life. Now that video is out, and you can decide for yourself if you believe it vindicates the officer. For the first time, we're getting a look at the 3-second split decision a South Carolina police officer made that took the life of 19-year-old Zach Hammond. This Dashcam video released Tuesday, as officials announced Officer Mark Tiller will not face state charges. Watch as Tiller approaches with his gun drawn, ordering Hammond to stop and show his hands. But Hammond puts his car in reverse, then drive. Seconds after the shooting, Officer Tiller is heard saying this.
He tried to hit me.
The July shooting happened during a drug sting, targeting Hammond's female passenger, 23-year-old Tori Diana Morton. Shortly after, Hammond's parents told ABC News they hoped the officer would be charged with murder.
I mean, this was over a little bit of marijuana. You don't kill people over marijuana.
All along, local police blamed the unarmed young man, saying he tried to run the officer over with his car, calling it attempted murder in the police report. The circuit solicitor, who made the decision not to file charges, says the video viewed at full speed standing alone is troublesome. But she goes on to explain the video shows Tiller's feet going underneath the car at the approximate time the shots are fired, adding the car accelerated with such force that a concrete curb was damaged. The solicitor also says Hammond had cocaine and other drugs in his system that he had used within 3 to 6 hours of the shooting. His parents say that's no excuse to kill their son.
He murdered
our son.
On Tuesday, the Seneca City Administrator released a statement saying, "We are thankful the investigation has come to an end and shows Lieutenant Tiller was acting in self-defense." But the Department of Justice opened its own investigation in August, and that is still ongoing. George.
Okay, Lindsay, thanks. Let's talk to Dan Abrams about this right now. So the prosecutor looks at that tape and decides the police officer acted in a reasonable manner.
At least that he's not going to get charged here, right? Just because they're not charging him with a crime doesn't mean he didn't do anything wrong, per se. The legal standard when it comes to something like this is, what would a reasonable police officer faced with the same situation have done? Would a reasonable police officer have believed that his life was in danger? And the authorities here clearly saying we don't have enough evidence to prosecute. But when you look at that tape,
not necessarily what a good police officer would do.
What an objective police officer would do. But when you look at that tape, it sure looks like he's shooting after the car has passed him. And the family did an autopsy. They say that he was shot in the back of the shoulder and in the side. That could be the grounds for a powerful civil lawsuit against the police officer in the department. Remember, civil lawsuit, the burden of proof is much lower, just more likely than not, rather than when you're talking about filing criminal charges.
And as Lindsay said, there's still a Justice Department investigation into this case. What could that
That's not going to go anywhere. I mean, in every one of these cases, the authorities announce, don't worry, the feds are looking into this, we're going to investigate possible federal charges, and it is incredibly rare that the feds ever step into a case like this. I would be stunned. This is going to be resolved in the civil courts at this point. And look, when you watch that tape, you can understand why that's frustrating for the family.
Okay, Dan Abrams, thanks very much.